Good morning, CLC. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our service this morning. Thank you for your love and your energy. In this moment, I invite you all just to take a nice, deep breath, filling your lungs with cool, calming oxygen. And as you release the breath, just release all stress and tension you may be holding in your shoulders and your neck. Let your chest just relax. And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and take another nice deep breath. And again, as you release that breath, just allow your body to relax in this moment. And allow your mind to be here now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin this inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words. I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all of my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one special idea I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing that idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release.
I release.
Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This can be a friend, a family member, a teacher or mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in the room with me this morning. I turn toward that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone physically present in the room or virtually on this broadcast, and share in confidence and gratitude in saying, I'm grateful for the good in your lives.
All right, huge thanks to Reverend Lisa Ryan for her talk last week, which was absolutely brilliant. I told you in the run-up to that, I wrote a little ad for it, and I said she's such an original thinker, and she takes this teaching in places so imaginatively, and so I'm glad I hope you got a chance to hear. I hope you were in the room, and if you're not on the room, these things now live in perpetuity on the internet, so you can catch what she had to say. And this is week 2 then of that series on Thankful at Heart. And what I want to share with you is what I think of as the basis for true. He just asked me what the topic was, and I said the true basis of prayer. And then I thought, no, it's actually the basis of true prayer, but it works out either way. What is true prayer? It's not a sectarian thing. It's not that one group has true prayer and everybody else is bogus, It's that there's a type of prayer that clicks. There's a type of prayer that connects. And it doesn't matter where you are with your big philosophical ideas about deity and where it all came from and this, as much as it matters that you feel something when you pray. That's why we call it affirmative prayer. The formal name that we have for the prayer that we teach in this science is spiritual mind treatment. And a lot of people are like, what? Because, right? Spiritual, okay, I get that, it's prayer. Mind, where does mind come? And treatment is really strange because we think of medical treatment, or we think of the oil treatment that you pour in your car, or we think of a treatment like an essay that you write, or we think of all sorts of things except what this means, which is that we treat our own minds to accept. This is predicated on the idea that there is one life, and that life is the deity, and that life is all the life there is, and if there's any problem, if there's any hitch in the system, it does not exist at the level of the deity being all there is. It exists at the level of the individual not feeling connected to the deity. Does that make sense? Our founder, Ernest Holmes, I quote this to you constantly, but our founder, Ernest Holmes, when asked the question, what is it really that we heal in prayer, in affirmative prayer? He had 2 different answers that he gave. Both of them kind of cryptic, both of them kind of cool. One answer, what is it that we heal? One answer was, we heal the belief that there's anything that needs healing. Now, that's not terribly helpful if you feel like you need healing, but still, If the belief is that something needs to be healed, then that belief itself can form an impediment to the process of healing because of an attachment to that belief. Does that make sense? Good. The other answer he would give, what is it that we heal in prayer, was he said we heal our sense of separation from our source. We heal our sense of separation from our source. When we know that we are not separate from our source, that we could not be separate from our source, that there's nothing that we could do to separate us from our source, a certain peace comes over us and a certain power comes into us. And there are things now that we can accomplish, things now that we can manifest that we couldn't manifest before when we thought there was this great gulf that existed between ourselves and the source of our own being. So this is where we principally do our work. This spiritual work that we do is not, as I said to another group, I've been teaching all weekend and I taught all last weekend, so I'm a little hoarse. Little, you know. Anyway, the thing that we do is not conferred on us. Spirituality is not conferred on us. No one comes in and says, you now have a direct connection to your source and your prayers are now going to be effective. Instead, it's self-generated. It's something that we feel. Reverend David Dewhurst just got up and crossed the room, which puts me in mind of the fact that he's about to be ordained on the 9th of December, as Danielle will tell you here more about shortly. When he is ordained on this very stage, where Reverend Lisa was back in May, he will not have really something conferred on him. It'll look like he does, because it's theater, you know. But really what's happening that whole night is within him. He's going to feel something within him. He's going to give permission to something within him, something he's been giving permission to up till now, you know. So when we affirm, we agree, we consent to something. We say, yes, I'm willing to be the experience that the deity is having in this world at this time by means of me. Consequently, I assent to greater good. I'm willing to affirm something. And I'm willing to believe it. And I got into this with you a couple of weeks ago, and Lisa followed up on it last week. In affirmation, the only person who has to believe the affirmation that you're giving is you. It's not about convincing anybody else. But at the same time, it's true, kind of to reverse that scenario, it's true that somebody else giving an affirmation about their own life is coming from a place that they accept which you might not necessarily. For instance, somebody who is an Air Force pilot might affirm, I am selected for the next astronaut mission. Right? Okay, now let's us try that. I am now selected for the next astronaut mission. Well, for that to happen, few things would have to occur right away. They do have civilians on the missions now, but still a few things would have to occur along the way. They could occur. They certainly could. Could be an easy path into it. But do you believe it when you say it? Do you believe it when you say it? Do you feel it when you say it? I am selected to perform the next major surgery at the hospital. They don't let civilians do that. A few things would have to happen, wouldn't they? A lot of education, a lot of practice, licensing, so forth. Somebody right now is affirming that kind of thing. There's a resident at some hospital, many residents, many hospitals, who are now affirming that they get to go into the surgical theater and perform this next surgery. Why? Because they've teed their lives up for that. They have prepared for this moment. They've done all of this work. The thing for each of us to ask ourselves is, what am I prepared to affirm that I can believe? Is it believable to me? Is it possible for me as I am right now? And the good news is there's a lot more that's possible for us right now than we give credit to. There are many things that you could do. There are many ways that you could be right now that you have fully prepared for on one level or another. And to recognize this causes the heart to open wide. It causes thankfulness in us. And that is the true basis of prayer. The true basis of prayer in this teaching is to believe that the good that you seek already exists. You're not having to make something up out of thin air, out of the clouds. It's not going to descend from the sky. No, it exists right now in some form for you. And that's cause for gratitude. And so you feel the gratitude first. This will be the theme the next 2 Sundays. And on the final Sunday of the month, we're going to have a testimonial service after the regular service like we've done on Thanksgiving Eves in the past. You get to speak about this. But today, and leading up to that, it's about proactive gratitude. Something most of us weren't taught along the way. Most of us were taught to have good manners, and if somebody did something for us, we said thank you, whether we meant it or not, whether we liked the sweater that Grandma gave us. It's really kind of corny, and it probably doesn't fit, and it itches, but thanks, Granny, you know, right? Somebody baked the cookies for us, and we don't care for cookies. Thank you, very much. And then the other things that life gave us through people, or just through life, you know, that were like, wow, I didn't see that coming. That's extraordinary. I am so grateful for this. We were taught to express this. What we were not taught was to feel it before it happens. Before it happens. To be grateful for what's coming as though it had arrived. To be grateful for what's coming down the road as though it had arrived already. Can we do that? Sure we can. We've got complete management authority. We are a registered administrator. How about that? Okay? Of our own feelings. Do our feelings get away from us sometimes? Of course they do, because they're feelings, you know. But we have management authorization to work with our feelings. And if you don't think so, imagine the last time that you just sat there and got in a mood for no reason. Beautiful day, sun shining, everything's all right with the world, and you thought about 5th grade again. You know, you thought about the time you had your heart broken, or you thought about the time you lost the job, or you thought about the time that you didn't lose the job, but that you were worried about losing the job, and so you call up you still have the job maybe, but you call up all the worries that you had at the time when you had those worries the first time. And we sit in there. This is management of feelings. It's really mismanagement of feelings. It's not useful, but we do it. But this is how we play with our feelings. Well, if that's possible, if that's actual, if this is what we do, then we could sit there and we could call up the feelings of gratitude right now, just the way things are, without anything else having changed. The thing is, we don't think we're entitled to do that. It's overstepping in some way. And yet it's highly creative. We're always imagining something. Why not imagine what we prefer to have happen as though it had already happened and be grateful for it in this moment? I passed another spiritual center on the way here this morning. I passed, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them, I guess, getting here. And they had a sign out. This one's right up the street. And it said something about Worldwide Praise Celebration. Did you see that sign? Yeah, Worldwide Praise Celebration. And hang on, going off camera a second. Jeffrey, would you mind handing me that Kleenex box?
Kleenex box.
Kleenex box, thank you.
There you are, sir.
Okay, pardon me a moment, folks. Okay. Man, I tell you, are we professional in these deliveries or what? Okay, so saw this praise celebration, worldwide praise celebration. I thought, that is wonderful. That is just wonderful. And to praise. And it didn't say, I didn't stop and read the whole sign, you know, but I doubt it said on there, now we're going to praise this and this, but not this. You know, it was just sort of praise. Praise is gratitude. Gratitude is praise. How about a worldwide gratitude celebration? How about a worldwide celebration of everything that has gone right and everything that could go right? How about that? What if the whole world were to break out into a celebration of what everyone has, with the deep understanding that many of us have a great deal more than others? And yet everyone that I know who has wanted to improve the quality of their life has at some point, either deliberately or under duress, you know, which is also deliberately, decided to make do with what they had, which is another form of gratitude, and say, just for this, I will be thankful. And what we give our attention to expands. What we give our attention to, negatively or positively, expands. The process by which it expands does not have the mechanism to determine whether our attention is positive or negative. It's just attention. It's just attention that we pay. And so if I dwell on something in a mood, it expands. If I dwell on something in joy, it expands in my life. What does it mean by expand? It brings friends, okay? Right? It populates my life. If it's I sit there and I meditate on my troubles and I get all feeling involved in my troubles, they go get more troubles because they don't know they're not supposed to. And the troubles don't know their troubles. I had this conversation yesterday. You know, stuff like that like cancer and AIDS and blocking out the name COVID. The viruses, or in some cases the bacteria, the germs, you know, that cause these things, they have no malicious intent. They're not like, haha, watch this. I'm going to harm this person. Send them to an early grave. They have no malicious intent. You know what they want to do? Bring friends. I'm serious. All they want to do is duplicate. All they want to do is find a host and be there. They're like settlers or something. They want to find a place and settle down and build a town and invite their friends and populate it. And if they do this on our physical bodies and our physical bodies hurt, that's a whole different issue. That's a whole different thing. Of course, we tend to, they're making COVID Christmas tree ornaments. I can't believe it, but in a way that's kind of cool though, because it's like, let's take the power of terror away from this thing for a minute. Let's cartoon it in a way. I'll bring you, I wasn't going to do this today, but I'll bring you in a couple of weeks some ideas I got for Christmas tree ornaments that are just hilarious. I can't stand it. My favorite of all of them is one that says, Alexa, decorate the tree. Yeah, right. Well, things, you and I, this is complicated, but you and I, reasoning both deductively and inductively, have the capacity to assign to things intentions and motivations that they don't necessarily have. We get imaginative about these things. We do this for good or ill. We do it in fun ways and we do it in not so fun ways, but we do it. That's the power of consciousness, you know? So what I'm suggesting as a remedy for much of what ails us is to use the imagination constructively by sitting there, if we're going to sit there, and thinking about, if we're going to think about anything, our good and greater good and the good of our neighbor. What did we just do here? We didn't turn to each other and say, I want you to know that I'm grateful for the good in my life. So there. No, we turned to each other and said, I'm grateful for the good in your life. And we don't even know what it is, unless that person has told us. We certainly don't know the whole story of what's going on with them. We say, I'm grateful for the good in your life, which is assuming that they have some. What a nice assumption to make. Can we carry that energy with us outside this building into the world where everybody we encounter standing in line at the grocery or whatever, we say, this person has good in their life. Those people over there have good. The people driving by, the people flying overhead in the planes, they all have good in their life. And I don't have to have it proven to me. I don't need a list of the good that they have in their life to know that they have good in their life. You know who that benefits? Both of you. Both of you. Them, you. They're going to feel something. Like somebody's thinking well of me. Does that sound a little, I don't know, over the top? Well, we get all creepy about it. We say, oh, somebody just stepped on my grave, you know. I feel I'm cursed. I'm born under a bad sign. We should do that sometime. That would be different, wouldn't it? Been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all. Yeah, no. So and I could go on. So we get imaginative about the troubles that others have, or we get imaginative about, are they talking about me? Are they gossiping about me? Do these people not like me? They're just pretending to be my friend, you know? We're using the imagination there. Why not use it more constructively? Which reminds me of a Honeymooners episode with Jackie Gleason in it. Jackie Gleason, do you ever watch these? There were only like 30 or 40 of them ever made, and they're on YouTube. Well, Jackie Gleason, short story, Jackie Gleason had this Ralph Cramden, his character, the bus driver, had this wife named Alice, right? And Norton and Trixie lived upstairs, and they were their friends. Well, Alice starts acting really strange. He'll walk in the room and she'll hang up the phone, you know. She's being real devious. She'll say, I'm going out, but she won't tell him where. And so this poor guy, he starts to sweat, and he thinks she's running around on him, you know. And he goes to Norton and he unburdens himself and he throws himself around the room in the way that only Jackie Gleason could as an actor, you know, wringing his hands and all this kind of thing. And finally he can't stand it, and there's something, she brings home a package or something like that, and he's sure this is a gift for the other guy or proof that there is another guy or whatever, and he tears into it, and it's a bowling ball that she bought for his birthday. Okay, I should have given you a spoiler alert if you're going to binge watch all the Honeymooner episodes, but there you are. It's a bowling ball that she bought for his birthday, and she had to buy it on layaway. And so she's been going down and making little $2 payments for this bowling ball and fun. And of course then and he did this thing with the hands. When he's trying to explain something, he won't say anything, just kind of with the hands, you know. And I think of that a lot and bring it up to you because that's kind of basic human psychology. If there's a group of people over in the corner of the room and they're talking until they see me and then they stop, then it's about me and it's bad. And it might not be about me at all, or it might be about me and they're planning to give me a bowling ball. Or throw me a party or do whatever, you know? This is the power of imagination. Imagination, when unleashed, runs all over the place. If we use it constructively, we begin to imagine our good. So my question to all of us is, what can I affirm starting today that I can believe about me? What can I affirm starting today that I can believe about me? I don't have to believe it about anybody else. What can I believe about me? I don't have to, like I said 2 weeks ago, bite off the whole thing all at once and say, my life is a complete miracle of absolute unlimited everything, when I can't wrap my mind around what that means. When that's both too vague and too daunting, but I can say that today is better than yesterday. Today I'm more effective and I'm more loving and I'm more kindly and I'm generally a better person than I was yesterday, and I can accept that. And if I say, well, you know, there's actually room here in this affirmation for more than that, then I can pack in a little more. The question always to ask ourselves is it believable by us? Is it believable by us? So in preparation for massive, proactive gratitude, wherein we say everything that's coming down the road is going to in some way benefit me, my loved ones, and the world that we share. In preparation for that, let us begin to work in an affirmative state, looking around at what's so and saying, yes, this is good. I can use this in some way. I can accept this in some way, and a little bit more, maybe a tenth more of this, a little more, little more music, a little more art, a little more poetry, you know? Little more kindness, a little more self-appreciation, a little more stopping to smell the roses, a little more love of the planet, a little more. I can accept a little more. And I will affirm that to myself. I will affirm that right now. And finally this, if you can't think of anything to affirm, treat that you have something to affirm. If you can't seem to get your treatment started, treat that you get your treatment started. Affirm that you can affirm. You see what I mean? If you don't know what you want in life, rather than seizing at this and that and the other things, see if it works, treat to know that you know what you want in life and why you want it and how it meets the deep inner hunger that you have, how it meets, as Ernest Holmes put it, meets the case, meets the demand that's placed on it. So I think that's enough for today. My nose is beginning to run again, so I will step off camera. And after inviting all of us to know there is one life, that life is spirit, that life is all the life there is, that life is my life right now, your life right now, all life right now, all life everywhere. That which walks, that which creeps, that which flies, that which slithers like a snake, all of it is part of that one life. On this world, on every world, wherever life is. Meanwhile, I stand at the center of this life. For this life is a circle whose center is everywhere, whose circumference is nowhere. I stand at the center of this circle, and I intend, I choose, I direct my own feeling nature to widen out to accept that there is good for me and I ought to have it, and now I do have it. This good comes to me in the form of supply, it comes to me in the form of ideas, inspirations, meetings, collaborations, communications, all manner of things. Comes to me in ways I recognize, in ways that I have not yet prepared myself to recognize. And that in itself is a gift. This good comes to me in the form of things I'm prepared to do and things I have not yet prepared myself to do, and that is a gift. When something comes into my mind and I have nowhere to put it, the place to put it is coming into view as well. So I trust this life. I trust my oneness with this life, and I trust the creative process to work through me to do that which needs to be done. And for this knowing and its manifestation in form, everywhere I turn, I am so deeply grateful. I release this word now, calling it done, and so it is.
I would like to express my gratitude and my thanks to each and every one of you for being here, for being a part of this, for giving your love, for giving your energy, for giving your financial donations to us. Everything you give to us, no matter how big or how small, is received in gratitude and appreciation. And with that, now I ask you to say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is.
As we come to the close of our service today, I just want to compliment somebody. I had the privilege of assisting somebody teaching a class to ministers this weekend. And this person, who you know very well, he's actually sat over there and he's not playing the piano, spent 12 hours just teaching ministerial students this weekend. And he appeared here this morning, which just shows you his dedication. I was tired just helping him. God knows how tired he is because he actually worked really hard. So thank you, Reverend Jesse. So one of Jesse's themes today were twofold, actually. One, he was talking about Thanksgiving, and the other is about spiritual mind treatment, which is a wacky term, I guess, but affirmative prayer, as it's probably easier to understand. You know, our brains are designed in a certain way that when we concentrate on something, we seem to get more of it. And I'll give you a for instance. If you're going to buy a new car and you want a red car, you're going to see red cars everywhere. And that's because there's a little organ at the back here of our bottom of our brainstem, which lets in information that's important to us. So when Reverend Jesse is encouraging us to concentrate on what is good in our lives, our brains are actually designed to work along with that. So it isn't just philosophy, it's actual fact, it actually works that way. So I encourage you today to do two things. The first one is to live in awareness. Because when you live in awareness, you have the ability to do something about any situation. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you have the opportunity to do something about it. So when you go into spiritual mind treatment, into affirmative prayer, I encourage you to be aware. So as we close our service today with an affirmative prayer, I want you to think about two things. First of all, think about something for which you are grateful right now. Whether you're online, in the room, just think about what are you grateful for? It could be a meal, it could be anything. Just spend a few seconds thinking about something for which you are grateful. And now, because I don't know what is in each of your minds, I'm not a mind reader, think about something that you would like to affirm in this world that will benefit you and benefit others. Just think about something that you know or you think will benefit yourself and others. And as I close this out with the treatment, just put that to one side and just know that that is going into universal subconsciousness. It's going into the universal subconscious. So I claim that I am one with all that is, because there is only one, and therefore I must be an expression of it. And as an expression of it, I know that the power that is within the one flows through me. It is not my power, it's the power of the one. It's flowing through me, it's flowing as me. And because I know this, I can claim my good and I can claim good for others. So I claim that in this world, each and every one of us, each and every person on this planet begins to realize who they are, what they are, and whose they are. And as I claim this in universal consciousness, it's impacting the minds of each and every person on this planet. And I claim that this is truth. And I see a better world. I see a world that works for everyone. I see people working together to help each other. And I see us putting aside selfishness, and I see us concentrating on what is positive, what is powerful, and what is good for everyone. And because of this, I am so grateful. And in that gratitude, I release this word into divine law so that it become a fact. And I let it go now. I claim it's done, and so it is.
So say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my
I
mind.
feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I am.
I choose it.
I choose
I
it.
trust it.
I trust
I
it.
use it.
I use
And
it.
I love it.
And I love
And
it.
so it is.
And so it is. Woo-hoo!